And we're back. Casey, you there? Can someone in the chat confirm whether or not you can hear me? All right, looks like I'm coming through, and hopefully Casey will be joining us shortly. I see no stick on Luke. I'm going to assume that it was overloaded with that track bridge.
Okay, let me know if you guys can hear me now. In the Twitch chat, tell me if you can hear me. Okay. All right. Welcome back. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Let's see what we got going on. It looks like there's still a Luke at the Carbonite Chamber along with U3PO, which hasn't left all day. IG-88's there with Leia. Master Qui-Gon with Qui-Gon's saber at the security tower. This looks like more or less the position we were in when we left. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. It appears that I'm not one to call people out by name, but Stephen Harpster ran into the computer and disconnected it. We're going to try to get our bearings here, see what's going on. Fred looks to be a little low on life force at this point. It's going to be hard for him to, I guess, mount a comeback. He's got to win this game once again by 19 in order to take the match. Johnny Chu won the first game by 18. It's unclear exactly whose turn it is at this point. Oh, and we've got, for the first time all day, we have the live feed on the Skype call.
Hey, can you guys hear me? Testing, one, two, three. Okay, looks like I'm back. Let's see. So we've got an EPP mold to the carbonite chamber versus a naked Luke. Applies.
All right, I believe I'm back in on the call, but I think whoever's on the Seattle end needs to mute their end. There we go. Okay, that's better. Tom, were you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
All right, we're good.
All right, so after
So
all
it's like
that, we've got
EPP mold came down, cleared Luke.
yeah, we got not too much going on Brian Fred's side. U3PO has been there all game. Master Qui-Gon still at the security tower. Maul's out with Phantom Menace. Just a matter of time now, you would suspect.
We had both Overload and Hear Me Baby were grabbed. Looks like Brian probably drew less than he needed to break the immunity of Iggy, which is immune less than 5, and Maul is immune because of Phantom Menace.
There's an escape pod. Looks like Brian is about 13 in his reserve deck, another 4 in Force and 4 in Youth. So he's still above 18 at the moment, but
Very close game.
no,
He's got a pretty good amount of cards in hand, too.
He does, yeah. He doesn't really have much of a board presence to speak of.
Although if he redeploys Luke here, he can pick the stick right up off the crash site. Possibly hit Maul and Saddam him, and then overflow Iggy, and that could be an interesting change of pace. Of course, if you use the sorry about the mess combo in that battle, still has to deal with U3PO. I'm on 10% power on my phone here. Hopefully, I can make it through to the end. I'm doing all my commentating entirely from my phone. So choose doing a reserve deck check here and just getting an idea of how many cards he needs to basically eliminate from what Brian has left in order to solidify a game. Might very much change his strategy if he can just deploy somewhere and drain for a little bit. So if I were Brian, I would probably try to fight, retrieve Draw Their Fire. I think Draw Their Fire is going to be one of Brian's definite hopes to get him back into this game to a point where he can win by more than he lost by in the previous game, and then also solidify at whatever site he ends up being at so that it's not advantageous for Chu to counterbeat. Casey, can you hear me now? Can anybody hear Casey? Casey, try exiting and rejoining the Skype call. Seemed to do the trick for me. Hopefully, I'm not just talking when you're talking right now. So Brian did indeed go back down with Luke, exchanged another Luke from hand for Luke's stick off of the crash site. So he's changing that exchange to a civil disorder instead of a Luke. I would have played the civil disorder. Well, Coward is shutting off both Draw Their Fire and civil disorder until Brian decides to deploy to the audience chamber. So Brian's gonna hit Maul and Saddam him. That's what we were hoping for. But Chu has a sense. See if he see what he draws. Chu is playing an extra Phantom Menace in his deck, so that would be a very unlucky draw.
Okay. All right. Post in chat if you can hear me. All right, so apparently we're back. Here's Corin Horn going after IG-88 at the security tower. We apologize for the background noise. That is the actual ambient noise from Seattle, from the game area. Need Seattle to mute their end. This is great right now, though. This is sounds of the game. You can hear the players themselves talk. Hell, they got a crack team down there trying to fit. All right, here we go. So the background noise is gone. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Someone post in chat if you can still hear me. We've got Corin Horn facing off against IG-88 at the security tower, which is a non-battleground. We've still got Master Qui-Gon at the Carbonite Chamber being blocked by U3PO, who has not died the entire game. So Corin could theoretically have gone to the Carbonite Chamber and broken U3PO's cover, but Brian Fred instead opting to take care of it to deploy him to the security tower instead. It's unclear what phase we're in and whose turn it is at the moment, since we've been able to we've been trying to deal with the technical difficulties here on our end. Looks like some searching of Johnny Chu's reserve deck going on there. I'm going to try one more time to add Tom back into this call. We'll see if this works. Anakin Skywalker has come down to join Corin Horn at the security tower. So this is Brian Fred's deploy phase. Looks like maybe he's setting up for a battle against IG-88. Tom, I tried calling you through Skype. You didn't pick up the call.
Okay, can you hear me, Casey?
Okay, now I can hear you. Great, you're connected.
Looks like I had to reboot the app.
Okay, so somebody who is not me or Tom, post in the Twitch chat whether or not you can hear both Tom and I, so that we know that we finally have this taken care of.
Sure hope so.
Looks like Brian Fred drew Blizzard 4 there. Or Johnny Chu, rather, drew Blizzard 4. All right, we're good.
All right, we're good.
We're good.
Okay, so Corrin and Anakin came down against Iggy, who ran away to the security tower. And we might be about to see a pretty epic battle here, unless Chu stunning leadered it. Oh, there's an overload.
Okay, so
overload for 0.
Going after Anakin, draws the blockade flagship bridge. Anakin goes away, so...
That was a deploy phase action in Brian Fred's deploy phase, and it looks like Brian Fred then chose to battle, retrieved with draw their fire because Chu no longer has a battleground to satisfy Coward.
He draws 6 for Battle Destiny with Corrin, so IG-88 finally off the table. And Leia goes back over to the light side. They escape over there. Corrin and Leia move to the audience chamber, and of course Chu immediately moving his U-3PO away before Brian Fred can break U-3PO's cover with Corrin Horn.
So that was intense. The game might be back in Brian's hands. He's threatening a drain of 3. Chu has no presence, no force pile pull.
The question is, how many cards does he have left in his life force? And I believe at this point the answer is still greater than 18, but I'm not sure by how much.
Additionally, if that's Luke out there underneath Corrin and Leia, Fred can start to put cards... Oh, it's Qui-Gon, bummer. If Fred can get out Luke and still have extra cards in hand, he can start to put back those extra cards with, like my father before me as well.
He does still have 3PO, so he can still cycle used interrupts.
That too.
Chu has grabbed one of them. He's grabbed Hear Me Baby Hold Together. And there's Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith going down to the audience chamber. For Johnny Chu, that'll put some added pressure on Brian Fred. No lightsaber yet. I don't believe there is a lightsaber in this deck for Darth Vader.
So it looks like Fred tracked some specific card there and 3PO'd it.
Mm-hmm. Chu's only threatening a drain of 1, though. Brian Fred able to drain for 2. Remember, that's not the Qui-Gon lightsaber that adds to 4 strains.
Now, now Brian Fred does have a Luke in hand. I was able to see that. If he does throw him down, get the stick back off the crash site, which would be another card from hand, in battle, he's going to retrieve another force with Draw Their Fire.
He would get... Does he also have Civil down?
The Civil was stacked on Draw Their Fire to get back a saber earlier in the game, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yep, just exchanging Hujix for Luke's lightsaber. This is going to be pretty important.
I would expect Chu to have something along the lines of a stunning leader. Well, no, Chu's going to lose a force as the battle is initiated. Here comes a Luke being retrieved back. Chu doesn't have a force pile, I believe.
Chu would not have been able to play a stunning leader there with Draw Their Fire out. It looks like Chu is scooping here, maybe? No, he's just... I guess Vader was not overflowed.
I'm not sure if Fred was able to swing. I'm not sure what happened there.
It looked like Fred swung.
Okay.
Oh, but Luke died. I guess Chu had a... No, I'm confused how Luke died there.
I think maybe it was swing choke. Did Chu have a Phantom Menace?
Ah, that's probably what it was. Yeah, Chu probably choked with a 7.
So Brian Fred was able to clear the threat, but he lost 2 cards in the exchange. Luke and his lightsaber, and I guess also the Hujix that he used to get the lightsaber back, so 3 cards.
So I think drawing any cards here is probably not the right call for Brian.
He's going to look to see how many he has. 3, 6, 9, 10 in force pile. Not sure how many in the used and the...
Looks like around 8-ish in the reserve. Alright, so Brian Fred is actually doing pretty well here.
Yeah, he's all right for the moment. He just can't really afford to get into a situation where he's trading 1-for-1 resources with Johnny Chu the way he just did in that last battle.
And it's another DVD lots. Probably another track 7 too. Well, he has no way to really set it up anymore. Brian's going to throw back a couple cards.
Escape Pod and Wisa, so a 5-6 on top of the used pile for Brian Fred.
Is Brian playing an Ambron?
I'm not sure. Don't think he is.
So Brian's going to drain for 3.
Drain it 2. It's Saber does not.
Oh, Qui-Gon's lightsaber, that's right. So he's probably not going to win a race here in terms of staying above 18 if Vader gets to drain a couple times.
Not trading 2-for-1. I think he's got to do better than that. And that sounds crazy to say that a 2-for-1 resource trade for the rest of the game isn't going to do it for him, but I don't think it is. Garrison and Command going to the 4th drain. Just take a second to touch on how this game impacts the Player of the Year points race. Both Johnny Chu or Brian Fred, whichever one of them wins this game, is going to move into first place in the Player of the Year points. If Johnny Chu wins, Brian Fred will be, I believe, in 3rd place, with Chu in 1st and Tom Kelly in 2nd. And if Fred wins, Chu will move into a tie with Tom Kelly for 2nd place. Brian Fred will be on his own in 1st place. So big impact on the Player of the Year race here. Either way, the winner is going to pass Tom Kelly, who does not receive any Player of the Year points despite his top 8 finish today.
So it looked like a civil disorder in Brian's hand there, which perhaps I misread when I thought he had exchanged it earlier.
Yeah, he definitely only has 1 in the deck.
There's a barrier, 2 barriers, 1 on Luke, 1 on Anakin.
Yep. That's tough. That is tough. Fred can only shrug his shoulders there.
And it's like Brian did not get back a stick. 1 card in hand.
Chew has just had an answer to absolutely everything that Brian Fred has tried to do in this game. And Fred could still win the game.
Expected Fred to put a card back there with Like My Father Before Me, but perhaps the few cards he's got in his hand are entirely irrelevant.
He's running low on cards in his hand, which means I think he's running low on cards he's able to spare before he drops below the all-important number of 18 life force.
And for those who are tuning in later, Brian lost the first game by 18, so in order to win, he needs to win this game by more than 18. I believe there was a Vader initiated a battle.
He did again. He choked Luke. Again.
That's pretty impressive that Chew tracked around the 7 still, despite not having any way to set it up. He just remembered where it is, activated it.
Oh, old school
used it,
tracking.
activated, used it.
1990s era tracking.
Looks like Anakin does crack Vader's immunity, though. So Brian did have to peel a card to draw their fire, but...
But again, these resource trades favor Johnny Chew.
However, if Johnny does not find another character to put down at the audience chamber, and Brian just gets to drain away 2 every turn, that's going to be rough.
So we recirculate and Fred will activate.
There goes the Phantom Menace.
It's done its job. Also Force Lightning off the top.
Now, Fred just exchanged a card for Jedi Luke off of Crash Site. I'm confused by that. I don't believe you can do that.
I don't think that that's a legal play. Maybe it is.
It is a legal play?
It is a legal play. If you just lost a vehicle, droid, weapon, or device, may stack it here. Once during your deploy phase, may exchange any 1 card in hand with 1 stacked here.
That is surprisingly cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought to use it that way before.
Get a Luke back.
So that's how we could have got the civil disorder back that I was pretty sure I had some stack on there earlier. Oh, and there's the Dooku.
Kevin Shannon's in the chat. Or someone pretending to be Kevin Shannon is in the chat.
I would expect the latter.
But the Crash Site Memorial play just goes to show you, that card's 21 years old. And discovering uses for it that we've never thought of after 21 years. Not bad.
So Brian's in a bit of a pickle against that Dooku because if he throws down Jedi Luke to battle, even if he draws a track 6, that will be a 7 of Like My Father Before Me, but Dooku is going to be immune less than 8 if with the Jedi.
And that lightsaber is long gone at this point.
Is Luke stick on the Crash Site?
I think it's in the lost pile. It's hard to tell. It might be on the Crash Site. I don't believe it is.
If it's in the lost pile, that would have been a very important mistake by Brian.
Well, Chew's going to take a look at the Crash Site. We'll see what's there.
Crash Site, you can, anytime a weapon's just lost, you can put it on the Crash Site, correct?
Correct.
So I believe we saw Luke's lightsaber go away last time. Last time we saw it was when Luke got choked by Vader.
Correct, and then he chose not to redeploy it. Okay, so I think it is still on the Crash Site. He chose not to take it back before the second time that Luke got choked because he didn't have the cards in hand that he felt were worth giving up to do so. But I think now with Dooku, he might not have any choice. He's got Luke and one other card in hand. We'll see what that is. And if he does decide to swap it with the lightsaber from the crash site. Here's
that would be the play.
3 to drain for 2.
And he would also retrieve one with draw their fire.
If he has the force to pay for it. It's unclear at the moment just how much Brian Fred has left. He needs 6 to deploy Luke, 1 to battle, and then 1 to retrieve.
It is conceivable that if Johnny Chu has low enough life force, that Brian Fred would be better off just peeling the 2 from hand to Dooku's force drains and outdrain Chu and get him to a point where he doesn't have enough force left to pay to drain with Dooku.
Did you see how much Chu had left?
4 or 5 in life force.
Plus some cards in hand.
Oh wait, no, I'm way off. No sleeves are hard to tell. So it looks like Chu has closer to like 7 or 8 down on table and about 5 cards in hand.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Yeah. Maybe 3 cards in hand.
It looks like Brian does have 8, at least. Plenty. Yeah, he's got plenty in his pile.
Yeah, Brian has plenty there.
He can go down with Luke and the lightsaber, try to fight, cause Chu to lose 1 to draw their fire, retrieve a force, get another card back that way. Retrieving the Anakin would be big, especially when then he'd be able to 3PO it back into hand.
Perhaps he's worried about Chu having force lightning here. If he battles against Dooku, Chu can, as a first action, upload force lightning with Dooku's game text, and then as a second just action, sneak attack 7 on top of deck, which would allow him to zap Luke.
It's certainly a concern. We know that we saw 1/7 in the lost pile a couple turns ago. He does have 2 other Phantom Menaces in the deck.
I do think that Brian has to go for it either way right now.
I agree. I don't see another option here. Brian's certainly taking his time thinking about it. This is an untimed final, if we hadn't mentioned that to anyone.
This is pretty intense. Brian is playing on the wire, even though he's got pretty good board situation.
$450 and the lead in the Player of the Year points race on the line.
I count about 12 cards in Brian's force pile, 2 in hand, looks like about 2 in reserve. Not sure how many, 2 in a use pile, not sure how many in reserve.
I would guess it's at least 3 in reserve so that he gives himself the option of going down, swinging, and drawing Battle Destiny.
So I wonder if Silva's Order is still in that crash site, and maybe Brian's thinking about, do I get the Luke's lightsaber back, or do I get Silva's Order back here?
I think it has to be Luke's lightsaber, because if he goes down and doesn't clear Dooku...
That's true, yeah. Dooku's immune 8, so there is the the chance that if Chu does not have a sneak attack and it's just a blind destiny off top, he could still sort of clear Dooku by drawing high enough destiny +1. So if he's got a 6 track, that would be Luke's 6 power plus a 7, versus if Dooku draws something like a 2 or 3.
It's also possible that he has Stunning Leader. He's got 2 Force in Force pile, so you could pay for it. And then redeploy another threat on top of Dooku.
Is there a weapon display out?
I don't see one, but as we've established with Brian Fred shields, that doesn't mean too much.
So that's 4 in Brian's reserve deck.
It's like a 4,
it's like 12 and
5, 5. Yeah.
I think there's 12 in his force pile and 2 in used pile. So in his deck, he's got a total of either 18 or 19 force. So if he uses the cards in his hand, he is he's run himself
he's
completely out of options.
He's going to retrieve 1 when he initiates battle.
That is true. And it's like he's got good destinies lined up, 4s, 5s, and 6s.
Yeah, he's got auto hit destiny, assuming that Johnny Chu has nothing, which is, not the best of assumptions. But
well, he did in exchange for the lightsaber. It looked like
not yet. We'll see what he does. Still don't know what that last card in his hand is.
Oh, is Crash Site Exchange a control phase or a deploy phase action?
It's a deploy phase action.
Okay, so we can do this and see if Chu barriers.
Yes.
And then decide what to get.
Although, to be honest, I think if Chu barriers, I don't really think that changes anything in the equation. I think you still have to do
Walkling. We forgot all about Walkling. So there's an Anakin back.
That's interesting. So why do you think he walklinged there?
I'm guessing he's worried that if he battles, he's going to lose Luke somehow. But I don't. He would still want Luke back there, probably over Anakin anyway.
Well, if he battles and retrieves 1, he retrieves. I know why. Because now he occupies 2 battlegrounds, and he satisfies Coward. So he couldn't do it until that point.
Oh, yep, good point. Okay. Now he's going to battle, retrieve Luke. So he did not do the saber.
Not
so
get
he's
the
hoping.
Saber, so I'm not sure what he's hoping to accomplish here, except from.
I think he's hoping to just overflow. So there's a 1, a 6, a 7, and look like a 4 in Chu's reserve. So this could really go any way.
Well, he needs to. It's power 6 to power 6, so I think.
So Brian's on a 25% chance here.
25% chance to hit a 1. I think that's Brian's only out here.
Oh, it's the 7. Ouch.
That's tough.
That's tough.
I don't know what that last card in Brian's deck is, but I think he absolutely had to go for the lightsaber there.
So Brian's checking where he's got that Anakin and Luke. It was pretty lucky for Chu, but it looked like his destinies were pretty good overall there.
Yeah, when you set yourself up for, after a long game, to have high destiny clusters in your reserve deck, and then you draw high destiny, that's not luck. That's you've set yourself up for that. Even if you don't have a specific destiny tracked, you've done the work to make sure that your reserve deck is primarily high destiny cards.
You're right. If any player is going to be playing without the aid of luck, Chu is the one that will probably most effectively squeeze out a win still.
It is certainly luck that he hit the 3 and 4 chance as opposed to the 1 and 4 chance, but he put himself in the position to have that 3 and 4 chance of success. So the tournament director, Robbie Hendon, says that Brian Fred has 21 in life force currently.
Oh.
Again,
So
he needs to
Fred
win by
is
19.
still in the game. So 21 in life force.
He's probably about to go down to 20 if
Down to
John
20.
drains.
He can take another drain of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Chu has about 6 in deck, 2 in hand.
Appears to be. This is tight.
So I think Brian Fred's hope here is to 3PO into Luke, battle Dooku, draw high, and Dooku draw low. I think that's what Fred needs to do right now. But Chu knows where that 7 is.
Chu's going to draw 1. Fred's going to activate. Chu's got 5 in life force, 3 in reserve, 2 in force. There's a drain of 2. Still don't know what that last card in Brian Fred's hand is. Chu's going to lose 2 cards from hand. Still got 5 in life force. And I believe 2 in hand. Brian just said go. Chu's going to activate and drain for 1. Brian flips 1 over. Brian's now got 19 in life force. Chu's going to say go. Brian's going to activate. Brian's going to drain for 2. Chu's down to 3 in life force.
And 1 in hand.
1 in hand.
So Brian's going to drain Chu out at 18 in deck, I believe?
I believe at 19 in deck.
We had to peel that last one there.
I think he's got it. I think Fred's at 19.
That is close. Hopefully we can get a commentator confirming that.
I want to, yeah, there we go. Brian Fred with 19 wins the match by 1 force. Brian Fred is your 2016 Endor Grand Prix champion and your new 20.
That was an impressive turnaround. Kissy, I think you cut out.
Okay, how about that?
Yeah, you're back. There we go.
All right. I was talking up light side, and I don't think that
super excited.
Powers that be will let me talk up light side. So there we go.
So that was a very back and forth match, a very tight match. Excellent example of a final game in Star Wars.
That was incredibly well played by both players in that final game. Such a grind.
Well done, Brian Fred. And well done, Johnny Chu.
Congratulations to both players. Congratulations to all of the top 8 and to all 37 players who entered this event.
And from what I've heard, Brian Fred will, in addition to the $450, also be winning a foil V-slip of Captain Phasma. Fantastic. Very beautiful virtual card.
Hopefully we can get a picture of that sometime soon, but we know that you weren't, Tom, I don't think you were on the commentary before when we saw it, but in the quarterfinals, the Poe Dameron foil V-slip that the top 8 were given for making the top 8, that was a fantastic looking card.
I want that so badly.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can fight with Chris Kelly for it. There's only 8 of them out there.
I think Barry made top 8, and he might hook a brother up.
Oh, all right. Very, very true.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. This was my first experience commentating on anything. First time using Skype as well. And I had a lot of fun. And I apologize for all the technical issues we encountered. But I'm glad we were able to get back here and be here for the finish of this match, which was incredibly intense and very enjoyable.
And Tom, it was great to have you here. And I'd also like to thank everybody. Thank all the listeners out in Twitch land.
And Casey, thank you so much for doing an excellent job commentating. You are talented at this.
Well, thank you. It's my first time as well.
Oh wow, really?
Well, with Star Wars.
Well, I think we're both gonna have to do it more.